Hey, what's up everybody? It's Dredrick again, and today we have another super cool game. Just a quick heads up, this one's not going to be focused so much on the strategy side of things, breaking down how the game is played. This is going to be more of a replay, just general commentary, because this is an awesome game between WFZ as the Undead player and Lyn as the Orc player on Teneras Stand. This is a super awesome game. With a spectacular finish. So let's take a look at what's going on in this game. As far as I know, this was just a NetEase ladder game. I'm not aware that this was any sort of competition, but for both players, we have pretty standard opening on this map. The Orc Lyn going for the Blade Master fast to go do some item creeping, and WFC going for fast Death Knight to go do some creeping of his own. Now this is something that's getting more popular with the Chinese players. They're going for a couple extra ghouls early with Undead, especially on a map like this, where they're going to take those ghouls and the Death Knight, two of them, and go creep some stuff early. In this game, WFZ is going to go ahead and creep the mercenary camp here. It's going to get him a pretty sweet item. Scroll of the Beast, if properly timed, is one of the best drops you could possibly get from the early game here. And that is going to get him a quick level 2 as well. It's something we started to see a little bit more from these Chinese players. So to do that, they're basically going to get a 4th ghoul. They're not going to go 3 ghouls with the Altar Ziggurat build. They're going to go for a 4th ghoul. And now he's going to just do some more creeping with skeletons. Meanwhile, Lyn has gotten some items out of the middle. He went ahead and took both. And unfortunately for him, he got screwed and he got 2 rings of protection. Bad luck for the Orc Meister here. Lyn, of course, one of the all-time greats, a legendary orc, been playing the game forever, and he's been dominating the game the whole time. So let's see what he's able to do in this game. Meanwhile, WFZ up here is going to continue his creeping as he ticks to tier 2. He's going to do some more item creeping around his base. And Lyn's on top of him. No real surprise here. Orc on top of the Undead at this point in the game. He's got his grunt hanging around, so he knows exactly what's going on. Lyn sells his TP, picks up the Circle of Nobility over here, getting ready to go ahead and continue his harass. That circle is going to give him some extra defense as well as offensive power against WFZ here as he continues his harass. Both players continuing their tech, fighting over the Kobold camp here. This Kobold camp does drop another level 2 permanent, so it could potentially be Claws of Attack or Gloves of Haste for the Orc player, who is very, very thirsty for some extra damage items on his Blade Master, since he hasn't gotten any just yet in this game. Meanwhile, WFZ does not want to give that up. He's going to stay on this Orc player, go ahead and contest it as long as he can, while he's waiting for his Fiends to come out here. Second Grunt comes in for Lyn, giving him even more control over the situation. However, he is playing a bit cautious. He doesn't want this Death Knight to go ahead and be in position to steal the Kobold with a Death Coil, so he is being a little defensive, waiting for the Death Knight to come in, putting some damage on him with the Blade Master, not getting ready to just go ahead and go all in on this Kobold camp. Now he is ready to go ahead and take it, and Death Coil from WFZ does take the Kobold, but Lyn, 3rd ring of protection, getting absolutely the worst possible Lord of the Ring drops over here. He's got 3. He's getting ready. If he gets 2 more rings, he will complete his Infinity Gauntlet. He will have 1 ring for each finger on the Blade Master. But in the meantime, he is going to go ahead and continue on trying to creep. Orc has hit tier 2 very quick. He's going to go ahead and get his Shadowhunter started. Shadowhunter almost done, in fact, while quickly starting his tier 3 and working on a Bestiary. Very much what we would expect to see from the Orc on this map. Undead, a little bit slower tier 2, partially because he did go ahead and get that extra ghoul there. Gets his tier 3 started, gets his Lich started. We'll be seeing the Slaughterhouse from him very soon. No Nerubian Tower, but he does have a full wall off on his gold mine, so he's not too worried about it, especially with the extra ghoul here. He's feeling pretty safe at his base, so doesn't feel the need for that Nerubian Tower, which is fine. WFZ has gotten the slip on the Blade Master. He's got a little bit of time to do something himself. He wants to go ahead and keep getting experience with the Death Knight, work towards level 3. He's taking the rest of the creeps out in the middle. If you remember, Lyn got all the big creeps in the beginning of the game, but there are still the little ones, the tiny little rogue wizards here, or whatever they be called, the tiny wizards. He's got 2 sets of skeletons here. His older set of skeletons has a little bit of time left, and 1 fiend out on the map with him. So he'll go ahead and start up some damage on these kobolds. at the Goblin Lab, picking off the Geomancers because they do have medium armor type, so the Skeletons are able to take them out very quickly. Meanwhile, Lyn is sort of lost track of the Death Knight and is going to go ahead and back up. Lich is out for the Undead player. It's going to go over to the shop, pick up another Rod of Necromancy, and then head out to the Undead. Also, you'll notice WFZ, since he did still have his Scout Acolyte, picked up a very quick Sacrificial Pit. He's going to have the Sacrificial Pit done before he hits tier 3, and he's going to go ahead and rally a Shade to his army. That'll allow him to see the Blade Master when he comes around and not have to worry about getting his creep stolen while he's out on the map creeping. It's a pretty effective strategy against the Blade Master. Meanwhile, Lyn, who's behind in experience on his Blade Master because he was so adamant on that harass but lost track of the Death Knight, came back to help the Shadowhunter a little bit. Shadowhunter is now level 2 and is going to go ahead and continue to creep without the Blade Master here. Blade Master finds the Undead army. Undead WZ is going to keep creeping, continue his creep pattern down here, working his way down the left side of the map. He knows the Blade Master's around. Lyn steals the blue Murloc at this creep camp, does go ahead and take that, and is going to continue sort of hovering around the Undead, but the Shade is out, and so that does force Lyn to pull his Blade Master back. He knows that if he sticks around, he's going to get right-clicked on, and it's going to be bad times. Now we have Raiders out for the Orc. Finally has Raiders out in the map, so he's going to take the Shadowhunter. Not quite level 3 on the Shadowhunter yet. Would be better if he was level 3, but doesn't have it, and he's going to go ahead and press the Undead here. WFC knows that the Orc is coming. He saw it with the Shade, and he's going to go ahead and pull his army back. Unfortunately, the Dark Wizard, this asshole, polymorphs a Fiend, and WFC is not having it. He's in bad spot here. He knows he doesn't want to take this fight against a Shadowhunter and against Raiders, so he's going to fire off a Death Coil and get the heck out of here. He doesn't want any of this business. Statues finally out for WFC. He is a little late on the statues because his tech path brought him to Fast Lich, which is normally what you're going to do versus Orc. That's the expected situation. But now picks up the Orb of Corruption. He does have his tier 3 ready to go. He'll be looking to pick up a 3rd hero soon, and then he will finally be in a position where he is able to take a fight with the Orc. Meanwhile, Lyn is over here. He's creeping, gets level 3 on his Shadowhunter, and he's going to go ahead and continue to get experience. Oh, but a 4th Ring of Protection! Looks like the item he got from his Kobold camp down here was in fact another Ring of Protection. Just needs one more Ring of Protection on the Blade Master to finish his Infinity Gauntlet. So he's going to go ahead and maybe just give a couple of those rings to the Tauren Chieftain because there's no reason to leave them all on the Blade Master. Coda Beast is out for the Orc. That's big. That's going to increase his damage as well as allow him to potentially take a Fiend out of the fight with the Undead when he does take one. Back in the Orc space, nothing else going on right now. He's just working on upgrades. He's starting to get a Berserker upgrade as well as the War Drum upgrade for his Coda Beast, which is what you expect to see. He also has a Payon in position and is going to start an expansion over here. WFZ's tech transition. He's going to get the Temple of the Damned up. For 3rd hero, he picked up Pit Lord. Now, for the Pit Lord's Howl of Terror reduces the damage that enemy units do, and the Banshee Curse makes enemies miss 1/3 of the time. When you combine them together, you end up making a huge dent in your enemy's damage, as well as adding in Frost Armor from the Lich and Death Coil from the Death Knight, and when you combine all 4 of those, as well as healing from these statues, you end up having an army that's very, very resilient, even against a high damage melee unit like Grunts with Coda support, or the heroes with the Orc, such as the Blade Master. So that's generally the strategy WFZ is going. He's going for a high sustained strategy, taking a big bite out of crime, bite out of the Orc players' offensive capabilities with his items and his abilities. And that is how he intends to win this game, with some proper micro support. You see, he does have 2 ghouls that he's brought with him. Because the Undead started with 4 ghouls instead of 3, he has gotten some extra lumber, so he's able to bring 2 ghouls into the fight with him. Fight starts, Orc coming in here, go ahead and get a Hex off on the Pit Lord, so he can't throw out Howl of Terror there. Death Knight gets a coil off on the Fiend, but it's not enough. The Orc does stop it. Stop coming out, gets a whole heck of a lot of the Undead army, but the Orc is now going to go ahead and take that Fiend, and he's going to get out of here because he realizes that he's losing units very quick to all of this Undead pressure. It's a whole heck of a lot of damage from the Undead coming out right here. Now we have the Undead gonna go ahead and pick not quite a fight, but he's gonna snipe the last hit on this creep camp that he was working on before, gets a Belt of Giant Strength. That is a fantastic item for the Pit Lord in this situation. It gives the Pit Lord a bunch of extra defense as well as extra attack. Remember, the Pit Lord has two advantages here. One is that he's able to do extra damage to the enemy units because he has that cleaving attack, as well as being a big tank unit that's able to reduce their offense with his Howl of Terror. Another thing to keep in mind about the Pit Lord is that he is, generally speaking, very high in offensive base stats. Compared to other strength heroes, the only other strength heroes that compare with the Pit Lord in terms of offensive capability, when you take a look at their damage per attack as well as their attacks per second, is the Tauren Chieftain and the Crypt Lord. Those are the only other two strength heroes in the game that compare. In order to beat them, you have to look at agility heroes like the Blade Master or the Demon Hunter. So the Pit Lord, in terms of his offensive capabilities, is in the upper echelon of melee heroes here. Blade Master across the map was trying to snipe the Troll Priest, but the curse on him actually made it really hard. And WFZ is pushing across the map here, and so the Blade Master is going to hightail it back home. We have 57 food from the Undead and 58, now 57 from the Orc, so it is an even matchup supply-wise. We're going to get WFZ in a position here. He's getting his Pit Lord in the front. He's going to want to get Frost Armor on the Pit Lord, Frost Armor on the statues. Lyn is coming in. He's trying to do some damage to the statue, trying to take the statue out. Gets a good War Stomp off. Going to go ahead and go after a Fiend. Devours a Fiend. Gets a Devour with the Kodo Beast. WFZ wants to get that Fiend back. Let's see if he's able to kill the Kodo. He does kill the Kodo, so he's able to get that Fiend back from Lyn. Howl of Terror coming out. Death Coil off on the feed. The Blade Master goes after Cyclone Wand. Death Knight does have Cyclone Wand on him. We do lose a Fiend from WFZ. He's focusing very hard on the Kodo Beast, and Lyn here is kind of just trying to stay alive all of a sudden. He's starting to lose some units. Hex on the Death Knight. He does have a lot of disable on his heroes, a lot of disable power, but not looking too good for Lyn in this fight. He is backing up, but the Curse, the Howl of Terror, he's not able to do much. Oh, Blade Master goes down to a Coil Nova with some Orb Focus. Undead is just putting out a ton of damage, and the Orc is not. Tauren Chieftain in the back row does kill one of the statues, which is going to be big, reducing the Undead's ability to be able to heal both his mana and health at the same time. Another Crypt Fiend goes down to these Troll Berserkers here. Curse is good, but it's not that good. Webbed Wyvern also goes down. The Orcs do like to add Wyverns into their armies. And so now, people are going to go ahead and back off here, but Lyn has lost the fight, and so he's going to be losing a lot of the peons here from his expansion. Lyn regrouping. He has his Shadowhunter and Tauren Chieftain back into position, but no Blade Master. He doesn't want to give up this expansion without a fight. Heal coming out from the Shadowhunter. Going to get ready to pick a fight with the Undead here. A little bit of repair coming off just to stall, just to buy for some time. Nothing going on. He's reviving the Blade Master by altar. He's not going to Tavern Res the Blade Master. And he backs up. He decides to go ahead and give the expansion up. So WFZ, through this fanciful micro tactic, nice little push, has taken out Lyn's expansion and given himself a very, very commanding position in this game. Now we have the Orc. Blade Master's almost back out. He's going to go ahead and just creep cautiously around his base for a little bit and wait. Meanwhile, WFC taking more creep camps. This one, the other expansion, never was taken. And after this, the only creeps we're going to have left on the map are going to be on the top side of the map. On WFZ's side, we'll have a few Kobolds, the natural expansion for WFZ, and this Murloc camp on the top half of the map. Those are the only things left to go. So the fight is going to swing now from the bottom half of the map back up to the top half of the map, as that's where the contested points on the field are going to be. WFZ still continuing to produce the same army, improving his Banshees with the Master Training. That's going to give him more health on the Banshees, make him a little more survivable, and also give him access to the very, very special Possession ability, which can be used to great effect if you're careful with it as an Undead player. He is now taking his natural expansion, which does drop another permanent item, so he's going to go ahead and get the Pendant of Energy. Very nice, going to give extra mana to one of his heroes. Usually you would put this on the Lich, but the Death Knight is also a viable option to be putting that on. He did leave the Belt of Giant Strength on the Death Knight. I think that is better on the Pit Lord. I think he should have switched this onto the Pit Lord, but that's okay. It's not bad on the Death Knight. It's just quite special on the Lord of the Pits. Meanwhile, down here, Lyn, not stressing too much. He's sort of just getting ready, taking his time and preparing as he builds up his army for the next fight. If we take a look, Lyn is still both about 60 food, same thing as WFZ. Nothing really too fantastic here. Lyn up to 60 suit supply, and he's starting to move north up the map. Oh, here we have a fight over the last creep camp on the map. This is about what you would think would happen at this point in time. Both players looking at this Murloc Nightcrawler camp. It's not hugely influential, but there's nothing else to really be doing at this point in the game. So Lyn's going to try and pull the camp over to him. WFZ doesn't charge in to fight over it. He's going to go ahead and take the orange Murloc at the camp and accept the rest his losses. Oh, now we have a fight starting. Lyn's going to go ahead and engage. He comes in. Blade Master taking some Coil Nova right off the bat. Stomp from the Tauren Chieftain is going to put the Undead's army out of commission for a second. Now, no Coil left on the Death Knight. Hex on him as well, so the first Fiend does go down. But we also have a Wyvern going down. Howl of Terror on the Orc units, as well as Curse coming out on him. We do have a Destroyer in the back who's getting ready to dispel things in the Orc army. He does have Spirit Link, so that can be dispelled. The Undead is trying to keep his Fiend alive. Is he going to keep this Fiend alive? No, second Fiend goes down. But the Troll Berserkers from the back row, they're going for the Banshees as well as the Destroyer, so they're out of position, and WFC is going to be able to do a lot of damage to them. Meanwhile, the Kodo Beast did devour a Fiend, but it wasn't a full HP Fiend. He did do some damage to it, but WFC not looking so good in this fight. This one, Lyn definitely got the better positioning, was able to do a lot of damage here. Is WFC going to stick in here and fight it out? He is fighting it out right now. He does still have mana on the Death Knight, but nothing left on the Lich, and the Pit Lord is sitting here. Oh, we have Possession going off. He possesses a Kodo Beast, and the Kodo Beast eats a Troll Berserker. That's that Banshee master training right now. He loses the Banshee, but he gets a Kodo and the Berserker. Lyn now down two of his units from that possession. He's going very hard for the Destroyer, has Entangle on it as well as the Blade Master and the Tauren Chieftain whacking on it. He's going to get the Destroyer. Meanwhile, WFC chasing down the back line of Lyn. He's going down for the Kodos and the Berserkers in the back row. No Berserkers left except the one that just came in. And the one inside the Kodo Beast, Lyn with the Entangle on the Kodo Beast is going to chase it down, and he does kill the Kodo, freeing his Berserker back up. But is the Berserker going to survive and get away? It is not. WFC catches the Berserker, and so even though the Kodo Beast died, its meal went down with it. Shade's going to keep tabs on Lyn here, make sure the Blade Master doesn't come back in and do something sneaky, as well as take a look and see now if the expansion is going back up for Lyn. WFC will see that it is in fact not. The Orc player is going back to lick his wounds a little bit here, but he did not get out of that fight without doing plenty of damage on his own. He's going to sell a couple of his rings and pick up a tiny Great Hall. He needs the extra money in order to do that. And he's getting ready to go ahead and take his expansion. Both gold mines for the main players are down to 2,000 gold left, so not a whole lot left. Both players need to be looking at getting the expansion done soon, or else they're going to be out of gold. The Undead player has 5, 4, 3 heroes, while the Orc, Lyn, has 3, 4, 3. So the main difference in hero levels right now is the Blade Master is only level 3, and the Death Knight is level 5. That's a pretty big difference in main hero levels. The Blade Master focused a lot on harassing the Undead, but was relatively unsuccessful, partially due to WFC's decision to get the fast Shade. That was a big influencer on the mid game here, and it's paying off dividends here in the late game as we have level 3 Death Coil, but the Blade Master's DPS is not nearly as high as if it were level 4 or 5. With the higher level critical strikes. Now we have another fight coming in. This time WFZ is initiating the fight. He has Frost Armor and Curse going off, but the Spirit Walker dispels it. WFZ came into this fight with his Lich out of position, and so the Orc Lyn came in very hard for the Lich, but WFZ was able to protect it because he has a level 5 Death Knight, Death Coil. It's so huge, 600 health healing. It's massive, massive healing on the Lich, especially a Lich that has plus 9 strength. Put all his strength items on the Lich, and so that right there was enough to save this Lich from all the focus fire in the world. Fantastic items from his creeping as well as the high level Death Coil. But Lyn's not done yet. He says, not going to let you kill my expansion again without a fight. He has his peons coming in as well as his army, and this time the Blade Master is in the fight still. He's looking at it. He's trying to find a point to engage. He throws out some Entangle on the Destroyer. He's looking, coming in. WFC has really good positioning here at a choke point. It's going to be hard for Lyn to come in on this, and is he going to? No. He's going to opt out of saving expansion now and take the lesser option. He's going to go ahead and take this Crypt Fiend that is out of position here. He's going to get that. And WFZ, now having gotten the expansion, he's going to move towards the main, picking off this peon here. However, gold mines, again, gold mines are almost out. What's going to happen without any gold mines for either player here? WFC getting into position. Crypt Lord, or Pit Lord's out in front with Frost Armor. Entangle on the Crypt Fiends coming in. Blade Master, where's the Blade Master? Don't see the Blade Master. Blade Master's right here going after the Fiends, and has Potion of Invulnerability. Got a Coil Nova thrown off on him to do a lot of damage quickly. The Pit Lord throwing out Howl of Terror again. He's microing the Fiends back. He does have Anti-Magic Shell from Banshees going on the Fiends to protect them from the Stomp Tauren Chieftain damage since they're on the front lines here. The Blade Master has to back up a little bit because the high-level Undead hero nukes are just beating him up too much, but WFZ is getting chased down. Lyn is chasing down. The Entangle is keeping him from running away too much, and he's starting to lose some units. He loses a Fiend, he lost a Banshee, now he's got this Destroyer under pressure. Even though the Howl of Terror is there, it reduces damage, but it doesn't make it zero. Coming very hard. Blade Master's in the back row. He's going after the casters. Gets this Banshee here. He's missing some attacks with Curse. Is he still going to be able to get the Banshee? He does not get the Banshee. Banshee's running away, but Troll Berserker gets the Banshee, snipes the Banshee from maximum range. Now we have damage going off on the Destroyers. Destroyers take tons and tons of extra damage from piercing because they're light armor. Now, all of a sudden, WFZ is out of units, and Lyn still has plenty. Lyn's units, these Berserkers, just did too much damage, and WFZ was not able to protect them. Whether it was micro or just unit composition, he couldn't keep them alive. Now the statues are under fire. Lyn is chasing them down. He's hitting the statues very low, one of them. The statues back up. He's chasing through the Undead Heroes, but don't forget these Undead Heroes are monsters right now. This Pit Lord does millions and millions of damage in AoE, and the Lich, don't ever sleep on a Lich. Lich has very fast attack speed and very good damage for an intelligence hero. Plus the Orb of Corruption means you can never ever sleep on the Lich's damage. Undead Heroes are just about out of mana at this point. The Orc Heroes are low on mana as well, though they have a little bit. There is one Death Coil left on the Death Knight. Oh, he throws a Death Coil out. The Spirit Walker went into his ethereal form, but Death Coil is nothing to protect yourself from an ethereal. You cannot protect yourself that way. Dark Ritual on the Lich. Lich sacrifices that Fiend that was most likely going to die to Blade Master in order to get more mana for another Frost Nova. And now it's turned into a hero war. WFZ's heroes have just been too strong and have whittled down the Orc army. Even though the Undead army was already dead, the heroes did all the work. One of the strengths of the late game Pit Lord is his damage is just monstrous, even without the extra damage items on him for the strength items for the extra damage. And now looking at the Pit Lord coming at the Blade Master, but the Blade Master, he can't catch him. He doesn't have enough mana for a Death Coil or anything. Frost Armor, the last man on the Lich. Lich is out. Tauren Chieftain, Shadow Hunter are going after the Undead Heroes. There's still a couple Orc units in the mix. Blade Master was too low, so the Blade Master have to leave. He wasn't safe, so the Orc pulled him back. However, this Undead, he does have items. He protects his Lich with the healing item. And now, oh, Death Coil. Oh, level 3 Death Coil on the Shadow Hunter takes it out, and Lyn calls GG. Excellent game between Lyn, WFZ, and really just came down to crazy high-level heroes. So I thought that game was really fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time.